right, everyone, we are recording. So, good morning and welcome. Today, we are going to kind of do a deep dive over the new functionality that was released in the summer update this year from PowerSchool, which is dealing with student observations and referrals from the teacher portal over to the admin portal. Let me start off by saying that we will be using a sandbox server, that this is a training environment, that no real student or data is going to be displayed in here. So any likeness to any real person is purely coincidental because we do not share student data. No FERPA violations here. All right, so let's start off with what we're going to need to do at a district office level if you choose to enable this. So this is not going to be turned on out of the gate for the districts. So this is something that you'll want to consider. This is also something that is a district setting. So I've already had some people to ask, is this something that I can turn on for one school but not this school? And that's a no. It's if you turn on the functionality, you're turning it on in the server because it really does adjust the way that incident flow works inside of your district. So if you want to turn this on, your district PowerSchool administrators will need to go to district management, district setup, and there is this new page right here called student observation setup. Okay. It's a pretty easy setup page. There's 3 clicks to it. Now, some of you might already have this top one enabled, which is student observations. That's a functionality over in PowerTeacher Pro where teachers could grab a student from their roster and create notes. A lot of people use this just for note-taking purposes. So if they have to have conversations with students, I've had them use it before for good behavior marks on students. It just lives inside of PowerTeacher Pro. It never goes to the admin portal. It just stays there and becomes like a notes area for your teachers. So that's been there. What's new is this idea of enabling the student observations to then become a referral over to the front office by teachers. There used to be a very rudimentary process, and a few districts used it, where you could create, it was an observation or a log entry back in the day, that you could then have an email go to a principal to say, hey, somebody has put in a log entry on a student, that you could turn it into an incident. And basically all the teacher could do was put in a title and put in a description. It was very rudimentary. Well, they have really ramped it up to turn it into a true referral in this process right here. There's also a third option here of who do you want, if you want to turn this on, what students do you want teachers to be able to see? Because, you know, PowerSchool is of the belief out of the box that teachers should only see students that are rostered to them, not see students in other classes. But they are given the option here of you allowing them to pick a student from anywhere in the school to add to a referral. And I was actually part of the conversation with them in building this out, because the rationale for this is, and I was a classroom teacher, I can say that, how many times have I been in a hallway and a student got into a fight? And you're the teacher that was right there that had to write the referral because you saw it, you broke it up, whatever, but the kids were not your kids. Would you want them to be able to put those kids' name on that referral? So think about situations where you might have a teacher that needs to do a referral on a student that's not in their class. If you want them to be able to do that, you would need to check this box. Now, this is all completely up to y'all and what you want to allow your students and your teachers to do as far as student choice inside of here. So this is the setup screen that you will need to make sure that you go through in deciding to turn it on. You just check the boxes and hit submit. Now, in turning this on, it actually starts to create a separate type of incident inside of PowerSchool, which means you want to make sure your security groups have access to these incidents. So the second thing that you will need to check is in system management, in security, in your security groups. So all of the districts, y'all all have security groups built out here. So which one of these security groups deal with discipline? Which one of these have you given access to discipline? Because for those that you have given the access to discipline, you are going to need to click into them. So like I've got this security group of discipline permissions. So I give this to anybody who gets to have access to discipline inside of here. I click into it and I scroll down. There is this accessible incident types area right here. And everybody's got discipline checked. Well, when you turn on this observation and referral process, now you're going to have discipline that comes into incident management as a teacher referral. Well, your admins have to be given access to see those, or else they won't be able to get them when they're on the incident management pages. They will only see those that are disciplined. So for those that you want to have access to discipline, you will also want them to have access to these teacher referrals. So you'll need to check that box and you'll need to submit. So you'll need to evaluate your security groups. Okay. Now, one other area I want to show you of not setup, but things to consider. Inside, and I'm going to go through these student observations and referrals very heavily here in just a second. Inside of these student referrals, there's actually a section that you can have teachers marked that's called remediation. Now, remediation is not like what you think of when we think of academic remediation. It's what has a teacher done before they decided to write this referral, because we've all been in districts and we know that y'all have code of conducts, and we know that sometimes we say, hey, before you write a referral, you need to have, called a parent or assigned a detention or something like that. And if you want them to show that, there is a way to mark them from your action codes that you might have. So I want you to evaluate your behavior codes that you have set up for your district. So if you go to district management, behavior, incident codes and subcodes, you have your action codes that are local use that you have created. These are your non-SIR codes. Okay. Everything that's up in SIR, like the in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, that kind of stuff, you don't touch those. But these are local use. Like if you want to document that you've contacted a parent or that you've assigned attention or those other things. If you would like for those items to show up under that remediation area for your teachers to select, what you'll need to do is go into your local use list. So I'm going to take detention right here. You click on the little pencil beside it, and that's first not the right code. That should say S99. But there is a subcode area down here that says may be used by. All of your codes are checked for administrators. With this new update, there's now a checkbox for teachers, where this will allow them to use this action code, not as like an incident code, so don't think about that, but as a remediation code to say, hey, as I'm sending this referral, I want you to know that I've done this before, or we've done this before. So you'll get to decide which one of these you want to show up for your teachers. Now, some of you might not have even created any local use codes inside of here in discipline before. If you've not, well, now might be the conversation of, do I want to create some of them to show that these are going as part of my referrals in there? We all know that we have local use codes that kids get written up for, that we have local use actions that we want to apply. Not everything always results in a SIR incident. And that's it. So you've got your district setup page, you check your security group, and evaluate your action codes and see which ones you might want to set as that remediation. So we've turned all this on. What does this mean? So what I'm going to do, you're going to see me flipping back and forth from the admin portal to the teacher portal, okay? Because I've got logins to two. Now, I know some of y'all are going, Stacy, how do you do that? Because every time I go to log into the other, it logs me out of the other. You use an incognito window, people. Use a incognito window. I'm going to go to a private browsing window. So I've already got one pulled up here that's got me at the teacher portal so that I can flip back and forth with these. So I'm going to log in as a teacher and show you what functionality you could possibly turn on. So with those check boxes checked, nope, I don't want to go back where I was. I am on the landing screen. This is where our teachers log in. It's the first screen they see. It's where they take attendance, all that fun stuff. When you click to turn on the student observations and referrals, you get a new column right here, student observations, a new link. When you click on the student observations as a teacher, it brings you to your student observation and referral dashboard. So I've been in here playing around a little bit so that you could see some in here, because I want to show you kind of pitfalls that teachers might make and things that you would have to do as far as training teachers to make sure they understand how to input these correctly. You will see all of your different observations. you will see all of your referrals. So you could actually have this as just a note-taking area for teachers. Not everything has to go over to the front office. So I could start this like maybe I just want to make a note that I had to say something to Mickey Mouse today in class because he was not paying attention in class. Okay? I just want to make an observation as a note because maybe one day if I have a parent-teacher conference, I want to show the parent all of this that I've done for Mickey Mouse. I can come up here and I can create observation. So when I create this observation, I can first start out by saying, am I going to look for one of my students, so somebody in one of my classes, or am I looking for any student across the school? So this is going to go back to that checkbox that I talked about at the very beginning. Do you want to only allow them access to their student or to any student in the school? If you don't check that for any school, the only thing they see is the my student. Someone just asked, does this talk to Schoology? This does not. This lives completely inside of the SIS. So I'm going to say it's my student. Well, I would need to know what class that student is in. Now, if I tried to just search without filtering my class, it will just bring up all of my kids, and I could just start typing and find the kid, because a lot of people are like, well, Stacey, that's a lot of clicks. Why do I have to click this, and click this? Well, you don't technically have to. You can just click over here and start searching the name and find the kid that you want to. So I found Mickey, and I'm going to say yes at 7:10, 11, and this was, I can have them choose this on campus. This is where you would need to talk to them about how much information you would expect them to fill in. Do I need a location comment? No. I mean, if I wanted to put in third period, I could. I can do as detailed or not on here. Title, inattentive. Inattentive. And I can just say Mickey was not paying attention today, and I discussed it with him. Y'all are going to see how horrible my typing skills are today. All right, so I'm just making a note. Just something. This is where that remediation comes in, where I said, hey, do I want to note that I've already, done something? Have I already sent a letter home? All those things that you go in and choose to say that the teacher can mark, this is where it would show up. So maybe I've not done anything with Mickey. Maybe this is just my first time I've ever had to get on to Mickey. Anything's ever happened. And if I wanted to put more comments here, I could. And here's where I have my options. Do I just want this to be an observation for me as a teacher? Or is this something I'm truly trying to write him up for and I want to send to the administrators for them to take action on? Well, in this case, it is not a referral. It is just merely an observation. So I'm going to click Save Observation. What do you notice happened? Where's my student's name? This is the number one mistake teachers are going to make if you don't point it out to them. I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to hit Edit. When I searched Mickey and grabbed him, that does not add him to this observation. You see this little add button? They have to press that add button. Notice also when you press that add button, it throws up these roles. Now, where have y'all seen these roles at before? These have been over in your incident area in discipline over in the admin. So this would be, he would be my offender here. I've got to make sure that when I search that name, I click add. Because I'll tell you, the first few times that I was making these on kids, I would forget to hit that add button every time. So that's going to be one thing you stress to your teachers if you want to turn this on. Click that add button, or else it throws in like a phantom observation. And I'm going to hit Save Observation, and there we go. So now I see I have all these, and they all will go right there. Just keep building in this list as teachers go put them in. When I click this right here, I can review details. So I can see all the information that happened, who the participants are, any details that I've entered, any remediation, any outcomes. Well, there's no outcomes because I've not sent anything to the office on that. The other things that I see under the three dots, I can close the observation because I can say, I'm done. There's nothing else that needs to happen. I don't want to move it forward, backwards. I can delete the observation. If I decide, well, this isn't something I want to keep track of, or I've had a conversation with the office and we've decided to delete it on both ends, completely, how y'all want them to use that. If I close the observation, are you sure you want to close it? Because if you close it, that means you can no longer edit it. And you really do want to close them when you're done with them. So if I want to close it to say, yes, it is saved, it is done. Now notice it disappears from this screen right here, but it's not gone. Notice that there's a filter right here for active statuses. There are active, which things that are in process right now, whether it's been referred, accepted means it's gone over to the office, or do I want to see anything that's been closed? So I can change to all statuses and see everything. So notice I've got some that have been closed. That way it doesn't clutter up the dashboard. So it's not like it goes away where the teacher can never get back to it, but it does keep it off of there when you are looking at the active statuses to know what's still in process of being moving either on the teacher side or on the admin side. So that's what an observation is. Have had a couple of questions come in. Oops, and my screen doesn't want to do that. If we give access to all students, do teachers see observations other teachers may have put into on the student? No, they do not. They only see the observations that they have created on their screen. Will this transfer over to Unified Insights for student plans? No, because this is going to your admin portal as an incident. And right now, incidents, the only thing that goes over there are just the incidents in the table. Like the incident itself does not. When we check the box to allow teachers to have access to students outside of the class, what else do they get other than the observation? No, that's it. It just gives them access to choose them from this list to put them as one of those roles on that plan. They can't see anything on that student. It's not actually giving them access to the student. It just gives them access to pull that student's name from the list bin, if that makes it make more sense. Lorian, the teachers can only see observations and referrals for they create. So like if Mickey has been in another classroom, let's say Mickey's over in Ben's class and Ben puts an observation on Mickey, I can't see that. The only thing I can see on here are the ones that I create myself. I know that can be very scary when you start thinking about opening up things, especially with discipline across the board. All right, so let's say that we had something a little more disturbing happen, more than just being inattentive in class. Okay, so let's say I've got a student who yells a cuss word across. That happens. So I'm going to create the observation. Again, maybe it was in my classroom that it was my student and my student yelled something across the room that was inappropriate. Or maybe it was out there in a hall and it was another student who's in somebody else's class that I heard to say something inappropriate. All right, so I'm going to go my student again, and I'm just going to pick one of my kids. So I got Ella right here. Remember, I got to hit add. Ella is the offender. She is the one that you use the swear word. Got my date, my time, location, on campus. Again, you instruct them whether you want them to fill this part out. This is filled out either in here or over in the admin portal. Completely up to you. And they can put it in my classroom. Description, whatever. Title. How do you title your incidents? Do you want your teachers to title them the same way? Do you want to train them on what needs to be put in that title? So maybe I just put profanity. And I can say yelled something, something, something across the room. Okay. Remediation. Maybe I've already talked to Ella's parents because she's had some other issues in class. So I can say, I've contacted the parent before, or I contacted them with this and let them know that I was going to send this to the office. Maybe Ella has been counseled by administrators or received guidance counseling. You know, you instruct them on how you want them to choose that remediation and what's appropriate, and put any comments. So now this one's a little more severe, and yes, this was the one that instead of me writing down on that old triple carbon copy paper, how many of y'all still have those referral systems in your schools? Triple carbon copy, I'm putting it on here. And now I'm going to do submit as referral. Now, this warning right here, observations are no longer editable after submitting unless an administrator returns the referral with feedback. Are you sure you want to submit? So what this is saying is, as a teacher, when you choose to submit this referral to the office, you're saying, I'm handing it over to the office. It's going to turn this page to a read-only page for the teacher so they can't make any adjustments while it's sitting over in the office's hands for them to figure out what is going on. So I'm going to hit submit. Okay, so here it is. There is my submission for profanity for Ella, and it's referred. Now, remember how a while ago when I didn't put Mickey on there, I was able to go edit it and put his name back on there? Okay, watch this. If I come back over here and choose it, what do I not have right there? I don't have edit details anymore because I have now given access over to the office so they can make the decision on what to do about this referral. Okay, all I've got is review details. So I can see the status, I can see the participant, I can see the details, I can see the remediation I entered, and I'm waiting on some outcomes. So now the question is what happens, right? Let me see. Y'all are really interested in this. Y'all are asking lots of questions. Will admin be able to see observations that are not sent to us? Will admin not be able to see observations that are not sent to? So admin, they could in the old way with it, but with the new way, if they're not moved over to incident management, you don't see them in the admin side. I got to see. I know there's tables. It might be that we can write an enterprise report. Let me put a pin in that one to see, because right now I'm going to say no, especially since I took it out of that old Power Teacher Pro side and admins can't see this page, but let me double check on that. Can the teacher add these observations when sending a referral to administrator to show what steps have been taken before sending the referral? Yes, Erica, they could. Can you select multiple students at once? Oh, absolutely. Yes, you can add as many students to it as you need to. And I'm letting that sit a minute on purpose, and I'll show you why in just a minute. So like, let's say I have a couple of students. So let's say I have Mickey Mouse, add them, and then I'm gonna add Christopher, and then I'm gonna add Card. You see how I can just keep adding kids? So if I had an all-out brawl in there, 3 kids, I could do all of them. And basically what it does is it's going to create that incident over in incident management that y'all are used to. And you know how you had to search for and drag the kids all in there? This is doing that part for you. Like, I love this functionality. And my hope and dream is that one day they write the admin portal to look like this and get rid of all that drag and drop stuff that y'all are used to. And everybody's going, yes, praise, amen, right? So yes, you can do multiple kids on that. So let me close out of that one and discard those. So we sent it to the office. What happens? What happens to the office? Well, a couple of things happen. One, and these are all high school kids, so let me go to the high school. If I were to look at my all incidents page, everybody familiar with this page? If you've worked on discipline before, you probably are used to looking at something like this, like where you're looking at your behaviors or whatever. Is this what y'all are used to looking at? Did y'all ever realize there's a filter where you can look at it by incident type? So this right here, if I look at it by incident type, I can see that, yeah, I've had 3 teacher referrals come in. So I can go find those referrals and click on them. And sure enough, here is my referral that was for profanity for little Ella that Miss Howell just wrote up. So you see how it starts that incident for you. Now notice it's all grayed out, okay? Because right now it's still in the teacher's hands. It's still a teacher referral. So I know a lot of you are thinking, Stacey, I don't know that I want to turn this on because teachers aren't always going to put exactly what I need them to put in there, or they might send it, for gum chewing because they were annoyed, and we really don't want to write up kids for gum chewing when they're annoyed, right? We know teachers have bad days. We know we get incidents in that we don't always take action on, right? That's the reality of it. So this is where you choose what to do. Do you want to say, oh, this is a gum chewing incident, I don't want to do anything, I want to close it? Or is this something severe enough you want to act on it? Well, I can see that they wrote them up for profanity, and yep, that's a class, whatever offense in our code of conduct, and you're going to get a day of ISS, something like that. Well, what that means is I need to take this and I need to change it from a teacher referral to an actual discipline referral. Now, I'm going to be honest, this little part right here is a little wonky, but it's their workflow. You are going to have to submit this first to turn it into a discipline incident so that you can then go in and edit it. Now, because we have our little update with our attendance, it's going to do that. And I've got an issue on mine, y'all. This is my pilot server, so ignore that it does that. You are not going to have to go back into this all the time. I'm going to show you the other way to get into these. So let me come back into this. So now that I have swapped it to a discipline incident, do you see right here, I'm now no longer grayed out. This means I can make any adjustment that I need to as a principal, assistant principal, whoever is doing this. So one of the things that's great about that is we know teachers, if you allow them to put this description, especially in a fight, they're going to put stuff in there that don't need to be in there, right? How many times have you gotten a narrative, like a 3-page dissertation from a teacher, and you're like, nope, we don't need the parent seeing all that. I need to cut that down to this is where you can edit that. You can edit and make those changes that you need to as an administration to put this on here. Now, see how I've changed it. I want to swap back to the teacher because I want you to show you what the teacher sees once I have accepted this. I've not finished it, but I've accepted it. So let me go back into the teachers and refresh the screen. So do you remember a while ago when I looked at Ella, it said referred, it looked like this? Well, now what does it say? Accepted. So this tells me as a teacher that the principal has said, yep, we are going to turn this into a disciplinary incident. We have activated it as a referral over in incident management. So this becomes that two-way communication between you and the office inside of here so we can see. A lot of people ask about that teacher bill of rights thing and what can we do to kind of make sure they see what we're doing in there. Here we go. And again, if I go to actions, can't do anything. It's still read only. I can still only see what I've put in there because the office has not done anything yet. All right, so let's swap back over to the office side. So I'm in this. So what do I need to put in here as an administrator? Okay, I'm fine with the title. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with this. Notice it's got my offender down here. So all I need to do then is put the behavior and the action that we're going to assign. And notice the remediation that the teacher put is now listed down here at the bottom. So what am I going to put as the behavior? Well, this one's pretty cut and dry, right? We have an SIR code for profanity. So I'm going to add that as a behavior, and I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to drop it on Ella. All right, what's going to be the consequence? Well, you know, everybody's got different board of conducts and this and that. So I'm going to say this is a 1-day in-school suspension. So we've got a SIR offense right here. So I'm going to put the date, and it's going to be tomorrow. So start date, I expect it to end tomorrow. And right now, until it is something otherwise, that actual end date. Also, FYI, we have an update coming this month that is going to require those 3 fields because we have seen at the end of the year tons of errors on districts because they didn't fill out this field right here. So after this month, you will not be able to move past this page without filling in all 3 of those date boxes so that you don't get all those errors at the end of the year anymore. So I'm doing my 1 day. Okay, if you want to do any notes, you know, some people will put duration notes on the action so it prints out on that discipline letter. Everybody knows about the discipline letter that PowerSchool will print in here, things such as that. Let me drag my box up, and I'm going to hit add action. So there's my suspension. So now I'm going to click it, and I'm going to drag it. And remember, you lay it on top of the behavior, not on top of the student, because it needs to be tiered down like that. Okay, so I've got the teacher wrote her up. She sent it over here. I accepted it. I have gone in, I added what it was and what we're doing about it. Now, because this is an in-school suspension, that also needs to go to my attendance, right? So I'm going to go ahead right here and write my attendance. So I'm going to say, yep, set it all for that day. Hit OK. And now submit the incident. And it's going to say, yep, you have adjusted incident. Do you want to go through? Yes, I do. It writes it. And we are good. So I'm on Miss Ella's record, and now she has that disciplinary incident. And it becomes exactly what y'all been doing with discipline for the longest time. So this becomes something of, do you want to allow teachers to be able to start that right process over to here? Now, what does it look like for the teacher now that you have actually completed this incident? So let's go back over to the teacher portal. So I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to refresh this screen. And what does it say? Still says accepted. But now, when I go to the review details, I can see status. I can see participants. I can see the details I entered. I can see remediation. Here's the most important thing. I now can see the outcome of what the office has done. So I can see Ella. I can see that they wrote it as profanity and vulgarity and was given in-school suspension. And that's all I can see. I can't see any of the other little details inside of there. Okay? So this does allow the teachers to see that in-game notification. Now I know. Let me see, what kind of questions did I have before I say my next statement? What options are available for location? Can we add location? So Laura, locations are locked down by a code set. So it's the on campus, the off campus, the in transport, out of transport. Those that are, you have them right now in your SIS that's over in the admin side. Those are the only ones that are available. If you want to be more specific, you would want them to put it in a comment for there. Is this taking the place of Bloom's for behavior? So Bloom is a third party that maybe some districts have purchased because it kind of does the same thing in there. So Ebony, that would be a conversation within your district level to see if y'all would continue using Bloom or doing this. But I will say it does a lot of the same thing that Bloom does. The only difference that I know between this and Bloom is that districts can set up like which, when you have an action, which behavior, or excuse me, when you have a behavior, which action codes can be selected based on that behavior. That doesn't exist in the SIS, so that's the only difference there. Like from this point moving forward, should all discipline referrals be completed in this portal? That's a decision up to you guys on that. Rosalind, will this allow us to run reports based on incidents by teachers? We're currently unable to filter data by teacher referrals. Yes, and there's an enterprise report out there that you can do by reporter, because most people will put teachers in as reporters, and will allow you to be able to do that. Sarah, is there a way for staff who may not have access to Power Teacher Pro to enter observations? They would have to have a login to the teacher portal to be able to do this. If you wanted, like for counselors to enter observations, you could do a counselor log type, Sarah, and have them do kind of counseling notes there. Otherwise, to use this observation functionality, it has to be in Power Teacher. Which, I mean, you could give them a Power Teacher login with no classes and allow them to choose any student in the school and be able to do those observations inside of here. They don't necessarily have to have a roster to use this. You just have to give them access to Power Teacher. Robert, can teachers submit a referral if there is not a name added? I'm so glad you asked that question, Robert, because the answer is yes. If they do it, like notice I have two right here for fight and profanity. If I were to go back over here, and let's go back to my all incidents page. So people, all incidents. And look at my teacher referrals. Notice I've got this one right here. That has no participants. So this is what it looks like. Can they send one that's not attached to a student? Yes, it will absolutely come to you, and it will absolutely have nobody on there. So it's like, well, what do I do? So this is a great example. I'm glad you asked this, Robert. Of, hey, so Ms. Howell, you sent me that somebody yelled a bad word to another student, but you did not say who it was. So I don't need to act on this, right? What do I need to do? Return it to the teacher with feedback to say, hey, please attach the student. And return. Okay. So I have now in the admin portal said something wasn't right, and maybe it's a description. Maybe you need them to put more in the description, or you need them to update this. Whatever you need to do, you just put it in that comment and you send it back over to them. So now let me come back to the teacher portal, refresh my screen, and you'll see, hey, I've got a return right here. So, oh, administration must have wanted me to do something. So I'm going to edit the observation. So now I can go through and go, oh, I forgot to attach the kid. So I can go in here and grab this kid and hit add, put offender, and now submit it as the referral. So a quick fix, and now he's gone back over to the office. So if I go back over here, and if I refresh my screen, still a teacher referral, but look at there. Now I have the kid. So if this is something that I wanted to accept, then I would come over here again, swap this to discipline, submit it. Yeah, it's going to go through that. And it's on my last student. I got a caching issue here. Go back into my referrals. Oh, it's a discipline now, sorry. Click into it. Oh, that's the 710 one. I need the 79 one. Sorry, guys, my computer is going haywire. All right, go back into the 7.9 profanity one. Maybe it was this one. We shall see. I gotta start naming my stuff too. Oh, it's the same one. But you would then go in, finish it out, hit submit, save, and it does exactly what you did last time. So it's that back and forth between there. Now, what I want to show next is what happens if they write up something that you're like, nope, we are not doing that as a referral because it's not going to hit our SIR. We don't want that in there. So let's go create an observation. I'm going to grab Chloe here, click add, offender, and I'm going to put something crazy, chewing gum. And, you know, blah, 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 blah. Student was chewing gum, did not like it, got on my nerves, blah, blah, blah. Submit as a referral. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, Stacy, there is not going to be a time where we're going to be sitting here as administrators and keep checking that all incidents. Is there a way to let an administrator know that a teacher has submitted this incident over here? How many of you have had that question? It's probably down in my list that I hadn't got down to yet. So there is functionality inside of here for you to turn on notifications and tasks. So do y'all see this little bell up here? Some districts have started using notifications and some have not. There is the way to set up a notification for entering, like a student has been added to an incident record. If I click on this bell, I can see as I have been adding kids to incidents, and mine's going to spin for just a minute, it's actually going to notify me inside of here. And if you wanted to, you could actually set it up to send it as an email as well so that they would know, hey, somebody just submitted an incident. That way they would know to go check and see who has been submitted. So notice right here, student has been added to an incident. Student has been added to an incident. Student has been added to an incident. So in the notifications area, there is the ability to set up to be notified when someone has been added and who that notification goes to. So you could configure that as a district for your correct people. So if I were to go and click on this, it would tell me Ella Reese has been added to an incident. Here's her student number, her grade level. And what's really cool is it gives you a link to the student incident page. So since I know it was Ella who had been added to it, I can click straight from there. and it will go right to her incident page, and you don't have to go do that searching through the all incidents like we've had to in the past. And I could go into this and work through it. Now, notice I wrote up Chloe just a second ago, but did we see a notification on Chloe on here yet? No. The notification is not like immediately there. It takes 2 minutes or so sometimes for that notification to pop. So if I will wait just a little bit, Chloe will show up on here. But I promise you, there ain't nobody in those schools just sitting at their computer waiting on that little ding to go off. I know that y'all are working. So when you do come back to your computer, you can see that you have a notification on this bell, or if you get it set up to where it sends you an email, same thing. It will say a student has been added to an incident, which will tell you come in here and check your bell, and you will see any of these that you then need to go into and see. There we go. There's Chloe right there. So now I can go in, look at this, and it will take me straight to Chloe's record. All right, and here is that chewing gum. So I'm going to click in. So remember, I'm an administrator over here. I'm going to click in and I see teacher referral, chewing gum, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going, yeah, no, I think Miss Howell's just having a bad day. This does not need to be an incident. This needs to stay as an observation over there with her. I don't need this as a referral. This is not going on our sir, that we are not doing anything. You are going to close the observation, which says once you close it, you can't edit it. Now remember, they've submitted it to a referral as a teacher, so is the teacher going to be able to edit it? No. Are you going to be able to edit it? No. So I'm going to continue closing, and it's going to stay here. Now here's the problem. This is in incident management. If it is in incident management, it is going to AIM and it is going to your SIR report. Is this something you want on your SIR report? No, because it's not an incident. You have decided to not make it an incident. So what you need to do after you close it is you probably want to delete it, because you're like, nope, this is not going to be an incident, because that's been everyone's number one fear, is if they set something over there that you don't need to be in your incidents because it's not truly an incident. Then what do? You close it and you delete it. Now, does it delete it on the teacher side? That answer is no. So if I come over here and refresh, so notice it doesn't have it over here because it's no longer active, but if I filter for all statuses, there it is. Or no, chewing gum. Where's my chewing gum? Right here. So it's here, and notice what it says. It says they closed it. So no action was taken. So that lets the teacher know, yeah, you sent it over there, but no, they are not writing it up as a referral. So it still is logged on the teacher side to say they did this. Those records are there, but it is not over there on the admin side for it to be in your incidents to go into your SIR records. So you have that fail safe to make sure your SIR report stays clean and has the information that you need it to have on there. All right, let me go back into the questions. Let's see. Dawn, can this be printed as in you wanted to provide it to a parent? I'm sure that we can get some reports created for it. When you do the review details, I mean, you can always do a print screen from there, but it's not really going to show you what you want. We'll play around. Most of them, if it goes into an incident, people are putting it over in, oh, did I just close my entire incognito? I sure did. Most people are putting it in their discipline letter, because you can always print the discipline letter to send home, but it doesn't have the description, and that sometimes you don't want the parents to see is the description inside of there. But we're going to play around with reporting to see what kind of reports we can pull off of this for you. And I'm pretty sure that PowerSchool is thinking the same thing, because people are all going to be asking about reports. And they used to have a report in Power Teacher Pro that teachers could print about observations, just the front office could not print them. Can teachers submit a referral if there is not a name added? Yes, Rob, and we just showed that, Robert, so that you would know how to fix that or send it back to them. And you can always turn it into a discipline and add the name too on your side, or you send it back to the teachers and have them add it just like you said. Lisa, yes, this is being recorded, so I'll send a recording out, and y'all know I put all these recordings on my YouTube channel, so you can check it. It'll be up by the end of the day today. Whitney, can administrators add additional details after the discipline report has been submitted? Yes. So when I was in that area, once you turn it into discipline and it's on that admin page, you get full edit access to do whatever you need to. Allison, do admin have the ability to add an incident in this platform rather than directly an incident? So do we not? Well, you know, I haven't thought about that, Allison, but I bet technically, if you gave your administrators access, but they would still have to go over there in that discipline incident area and still do that second part to it anyway. But you could give them just access to Power Teacher and then choose from the whole school and then grab and start it. So if you wanted to, you could. And yep, Tiffany, that notification that I just showed, and I will show y'all how to do those notifications in just a minute. Patrick, echoing, will they receive a notification? Only if you set up those notifications. How do we print the discipline incident letter? Okay, so if y'all have never done anything with the discipline letter, I will show you. I'll give you the link. Discipline letter set up in PowerSchool. Here is the link to the video where I showed how. So grab that link right there and that will walk you through discipline letter if y'all have never set that up and never printed those. How would the student sign the referral acknowledging? So it's not going to be one of those signature things inside of here. So we'll play around, Stephen, with some type of report that maybe could pull that information out into like an object report or something so that you could then have them sign. Let me make it right now. I can probably do it as an enterprise report. So we would need a report for student to sign. You could also, print that discipline letter as something for them to sign. You could print out, just do a print screen from the overall incident page inside of there. So when I'm in the admin portal, if I needed, let's see, let me go back to Mickey because he's got some. If I just needed to print that page as a referral, I could once it's been entered. Or I guess I was right here on Ella. So yeah, you can always do, it's not pretty, but you can always do a print screen of this so that it shows the information on there and have them sign that. So there's options, but we'll see about getting you a pretty report inside of there. Will this information be visible in the parent portal, and will other students be involved? So discipline is not in the parent portal at all. Just like when you put the incident in there, this is not doing anything beyond the administrative portal. All this is doing is adding functionality in the teacher portal to get the information to you over in the admin portal, and then it works like it has worked for the last 4 years inside of PowerSchool. Christy, is there any way to get a SIR code added for intentional touching and disrespect? So, Christy, you would need to talk to Dr. Autumn Jeter. She is the one over student services, the assistant superintendent here at the State Department who oversees all of those SIR codes. I know those SIR codes are kind of built off of what we have to federally report. Honestly, I don't see the feds wanting to see that right there. However, if that is something that you are needing for your district can create that as a local use behavior to add to students if you needed to. Yes, Linda, love that the attendance is attached right there. Allison, in Bloom, there's a counselor referral option. Does PowerSchool have anything like that? I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with Bloom that much, so I'm not sure what a counselor referral means inside of there, Allison. So I can't really answer that. How much access do parents have to this? None. None at all. What districts would districts need to purchase this? No, this is something you can turn on right now. It's one of their upgrade features. Can we turn this on for our teachers as an administrator, or does it have to be done at the district level? As a district level. Are admins and teachers notified via email when they enter an incident or feedback? And yes, that can be done via those notifications. Is there a way to see all remediation input for a student that have multiple teachers who have entered something? They'd all be on different incidents. Depending on how these tables are structured, I'll have to get with Scott and see. We might be able to pull something together on that. Let me make a note of that. I'm making me a report list. So you would want to see all remediation input across multiple instances. We'll see what we can do there. Can teachers submit a referral to a particular administrator, or does it go to all? So when they submit it, it goes into incidents altogether. So it goes to whoever has access to incidents, and y'all have all structured your districts completely different as to who gets access to this page right here on the admin portal. When you set up the notification, you can choose who specifically it goes to. Now, here I do know, like the old high school that I was at, A through F went to this administrator, G through M went through this administrator, N through Z went to this administrator. You can't go that granular. So when somebody gets a notification, it's just going to go to everybody you designate. You can't pick a specific student to go to a specific administrator inside of there. Just like any administrator who has access to the admin portal right now doesn't just get a certain group of students that they see. They see anybody in that school in the admin portal. So it doesn't differentiate like that. Yes, that discipline letter, I just put the link from YouTube. Is there a way to provide feedback to the teacher on why the referral was not accepted? Yes, there's always like comments and feedback area that you can always type in there and they can see. When admins close and delete an observation, does that not warrant a disciplinary incident? That does not. Is there a way to give teachers notes to explain why no action was taken? So yeah, there's that notes area in there. So if you were to add it, it would show it. Well, I'm trying to think, when you delete it, would it show it to them? That might have to be just an email to a teacher at that point. Does it show information by grade level, location, discipline, and percentages? Marcus, I'm not sure what kind of percentages you're wanting right there. Like once these get into incidents, we do have some enterprise reports that will give you some kind of diagnostics about the types of incidents and percentages and things like by SIR code and stuff like that. If you wanted to see those. When it comes to setting this up and giving the teachers access, would this have to be done by the district? Yes, it has to be done at the district level. And that's at the beginning of this recording, so y'all make sure to go back and look at that. Laura, could you add a custom field for additional locations? Honestly, Laura, I highly doubt it, because this is probably the most complex system they have inside of here, and trying to customize this core would almost be crazy. I would say put it in the comment or in the description and do it in that kind of training. Is there a positive behavior component? Other than it being an observation, but you would not want to send positive behavior over into incidents, because that goes into your discipline incidents, which hits SIR. So if you want positive behavior, either one, have them do it as a observation to keep it completely in PowerTeacher Pro. You could create a log entry type of positive behavior and have it entered in there by your users, because that you can run reports on. Can teachers submit a referral to? No, we answered that one. Is it possible for the student to receive a link to digitally sign? Right now, no, there's no digital signature or anything like that inside of this portal. So it's just that one piece of functionality now that exists over in PowerTeacher that writes back over into that admin portal. All right, I think I made it through all of those questions. Is there anything else that y'all would like me to show you from this screen as we are in here?